I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in. I'm breathing out. Welcome back, friends. Welcome back. Happy Monday. I hope you're all doing well. Did you have a good weekend? The breathing in and breathing out was for me and anyone else who happens to own a bike shop in 2021. And I'll explain more fully in a little bit. First up, I want to thank all of you engaged and thoughtful subscribers, new and old, because every once in a while, one of you lets me know when I have made an omission. And in my mind, this was a rather egregious omission. Did you ever watch Top Gear? The old BBC Top Gear. They did an episode once where they were talking about little hatchbacks, hot hatchbacks, I think they called them. And they went through this whole show, and it was right around the time that Fiat reintroduced the 500. And they did this whole show, and they got to the end, and they said, it just seems like, we got to this, and we've left something out. And as they were doing it from inside the car, as they oftentimes do, and as they were driving down these streets, the streets were lined with Fiat 500s. Fiat 500s as far as the eye could see, because they had gone through this whole show and talked about all these little hatchbacks, and they never talked about the Fiat 500. And that's kind of what I'm feeling like today, because I did that whole thing on Wednesday last on touring bikes, traditional touring bikes, the future of road touring. And what did I forget? Yeah. Didn't talk once about Rivendell. An egregious omission, in my mind. And the moral of the story is that as long as Rivendell's in business, your more traditional touring bike is safe and sound. Even though, one could make the argument that, not even Rivendell is that traditional anymore. But traditional from the standpoint of, steel frame, quill stem. Yeah, you're going to probably have to buy 3 chains. But it's a traditional touring bike nonetheless, and I am embarrassed and ashamed of myself for omitting them. You'll have to forgive me. So, Shimano has a factory in Malaysia. They've had that factory in Malaysia since the early 1990s. And that's where a lot, most of the lower priced derailleurs, hubs, and whatnot come from. That factory has been operating at 60% capacity because Malaysia apparently still has not gotten control of COVID. And last week, Shimano was forced to shut that factory completely until June 28th. I don't know what happens on June 28th. We're going to have to wait and see. But that certainly does not bode well for component availability for me or for thee. Hopefully you're not trying to build a bicycle in 2021. Or, just buy some new linear pull brakes. I cannot. I've got a Rivendell that I need to build, and I can't find a linear pull brake to if my life depended on it, with one exception, and that is the Paul Component Engineering. which are great brakes. I just ordered a whole mess of them. But there's certainly a rather large chasm of a price difference between a Shimano Dior V-brake and a Paul Moto Light. Which brings up another question, which is, we've got U.S. manufacturing, so we can do hubs and cranks and bottom brackets and headsets and brakes that are all made in the U.S. Yeah, there's probably going to be a slowdown, or it's not going to be. They're not going to be as available, and they too are going to certainly encounter some increases in the price of materials. But those products will largely still be available. The one thing we don't have is, derailleurs or shifters for that matter. So my question to you is it's two parts. If this component shortage continues, are you more likely to spend more money on some U.S.-made products, whether it be a Chris King headset or a White Industries headset, White Industries crank, Paul brakes? And part two is, if someone were to come up with a U.S.-made rear derailleur, let's say, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but it has to be good and it has to work. 3D printing has gotten to the point, I know zero about 3D printing, but it seems to me that the technology has gotten to the point where they could 3D print a good portion of that component and CNC whatever was left. What the hell do I know? But it sounds good. So if someone came up with a derailleur that, would normally cost you $40 if it was a Shimano or a Microshift, but it cost you $100 from a U.S. manufacturer, would you spend it? Would you spend $100 on a arguably $40 derailleur? I think I would. But what do you think? Put it down in the comments below. As always, I really appreciate you watching. If you've got the notification bell rung and you're watching on Monday morning, thank you. Let's make the most of the day. Till next time, be nice, work hard, ride bikes, play music when you can. I'll talk to you soon.